Welcome to the Mystic Access Podcast, where the magic is in learning.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the July 8th episode of the Mystic Access Podcast. Really hope that you guys had a wonderful Independence Day if you celebrated, and if not, hope you had a wonderful weekend. She's Kim.
He's Chris.
And we have one thing to talk about today, and that has a little bit of something to do with travel.
It does. And speaking of travel, we hope you are enjoying your convention season. Many of us will be at convention, including us, when you hear this podcast. So we are away. And remember, convention sales are up. So technically, we have two things. That's the other thing we need to remind you of is convention sales are up and available at the website. You just need to wait if you order hardware or an SD card or other media.
Physical media.
Yeah,
right.
Physical media. And then we will be able to ship those to you, but it's going to be a little while, but we will write you individually about that. So hope you are enjoying your conventions or virtual conventions if you are enjoying those. If not, we hope your July is going great and starting well and that your summer is just the way you want it to be, or your winter, depending on what end of the world you're on.
So we were talking to a friend, and she reminded us of a GPS app called Vista.
Tell us about Vista.
Now, Vista is a GPS app. It is an offshoot of the old Microsoft Soundscapes app. And I never really played with the Soundscapes app when it was a thing, but I decided to check out this Vista. And to do that, I went on a little walk around the neighborhood.
Now, is this strictly iOS?
I don't know.
We'll check. I suspect that it is.
It is because the original was only iOS, so I believe that is true. Now, what the original did, and what this one does, which is really cool.
Original meaning Soundscapes,
yes,
right? Or whatever
correct.
it's called.
Yes. So what it did is it would tell you where things are in orientation to you. So if you had a good set of, let's just be safe here, a set of open ear or bone conduction headphones.
There you go.
Let's not put on a pair of headphones that cover your ears and go traipsing down the street, because that's just one way to leave the world early.
People would miss you. Don't do it.
Right. So what I did was I had a pair of glasses, the Ray-Bans in particular, the Metas that we bought last year. And I took those out along with my WeWalk Smart Cane 2 and the Vista app on my iPhone. I didn't use the one that came with the cane because the whole idea was to see how this Vista worked with telling you where things are, and I decided to use the Meta because I wanted to do some AI-related things when I was out and about, which was kind of interesting. So here I am walking down the street with the cane and the thing, and the first thing I did was face my house and asked what I saw. So I said, "Hey Meta, what's in front of me?" or tell me what I'm looking at, or whatever you use to have it take its picture. And it told me there was a mailbox there.
Could it read you anything on the mailbox?
I asked it if there was anything on the mailbox, and it said there was, and there was an address there.
Nice. And it read it correctly?
It did read it correctly.
Nice.
Now, the problem is that I asked if there was a sign in the yard.
This is funny. He had to tell me this story.
Right. So I have a Ring solar sign to let people know that the house has cameras and that there's 24-hour surveillance, both audio and video. And the funny thing is Meta says, yes, there is a sign there. And it said that it was a sold by homeowner sign.
For sale by homeowner.
Right, something like that. It was incorrect. Big time incorrect.
Yeah, we're definitely not selling our house.
Right. But it was kind of funny that that's what it said. And
yeah.
I'm like, no, that's not correct. But it was able to read the sign. I mean, it was able to read the mailbox, which was kind of fun. So I went walking down the street, and the Vista was announcing the street that I was on, and it was announcing that the street on my right was coming in towards the right, and the cool thing that it did was the voice came from that direction. So if I'm walking down the street, and a street is ahead of me, to the left of me, or to the right of me, it's going to come at you from that direction. It also does that with nearby addresses. It was really kind of cool because it's announcing this stuff as you're walking around, but it's not obnoxiously announcing this stuff. as you're walking around. So it's going to give you a little sample of what's around. And when I got to the end of the street, it told me the orientation of the street. And again, it was whatever was ahead, whatever was to the left, and whatever was to the right. So it did a really good job. While I was walking, I used my WeWalk Smart Cane to detect obstacles. And it did a very good job of detecting branches and the bushes that were alongside of where I was. And finally, what I had done was ask Meta if the sidewalk was clear. That was cool. I think one time it described a sidewalk, what a sidewalk was, because I may have asked it inadvertently, what is a sidewalk, or is the sidewalk? I didn't give it the take my picture thing and tell me what's going around, but I would ask it, is the sidewalk ahead of me clear, or take a look and see what's ahead of me clear. So I'm walking down the street like that, using the Meta glasses as kind of an interesting way to, find out your location, along with the GPS, along with the phone and the cane. So that was kind of fun.
So I know one of your gripes when it comes to on the phone or on unit GPS is battery life. So I would be curious to know how your phone did on this little jaunt.
I think I lost 20% of phone battery life. I remember I went out at 65% and I came back and it was about 40%.
And you were gone, what, a half hour?
Yes, exactly a half hour.
Mm-hmm. So 20% in half an hour, just to give you guys some context there.
Yep, I had my watch on. I started a outdoor walk, and I was able to, when I came home, the watch told me that I closed my exercise ring, which was really kind of cool.
Absolutely.
It actually just said it. One thing that I couldn't figure out was that when I was coming home, the neighbor likes to park his trucks over the sidewalk. So his trucks get a little bit dingy from time to time if my cane hits them. I asked Meta if there was anything on the sidewalk. It said the sidewalk was clear. The sidewalk most definitely was not clear. I even backed up, but I don't know where I was looking, if I was looking to the right or to the left or what have you, but the truck was actually on the left, so I'm surprised it didn't see that there was a truck there. That was kind of interesting. So maybe it was describing the sidewalk again, I'm not quite sure, but it didn't tell me that there was a truck there. So I
wonder if you could ask something like, are there any obstacles around me?
I did, but it wasn't at that time. I just asked if the sidewalk was clear, and it said that it was, but it also thinks we sold our house.
That's true.
So I don't know.
This is free. This is free.
Right.
How would you compare this to other on-phone options that you've played with?
I really like it. I like the fact that it is telling you where things are from the orientation of you versus just spitting stuff out.
That would help me a lot because I am completely directionless, and that kind of thing I think would be useful for me if I were walking around.
I remember last year I bought the glasses. One of the reasons was for that concert that we went to, but another reason was to have GPS talking to me while not blocking my ears.
Yes.
That's not safe. I used to do it, but it wasn't both ears. It was never both ears. I used to have a wired earphone, and when I came across the street, I would pluck the earphone out and let it hang. And then when I got to the other side of the street, I would put the earphone back in and continue on my way. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know it's still safer than keeping the earphone in your ear and having that side of your head blocked from the earphone that's sticking in your ear. So we do not recommend, for safety's sake, the use of like over-the-ear headphones or headphones, earbuds that are going to cover your ears so that you can't hear the outside.
What else can this do besides just tell you what's on your route?
It can tell you what's on your route. You can actually create routes. It gets its info from Apple Maps, but it uses its interface, not Apple Maps interface, which I thought was kind of cool. You can actually go through the route ahead of time. You can set what are called beacons, and then you can navigate to those beacons. And again, the beacon itself is going to give you its orientation, whether it's to the left of you, to the right of you, straight ahead. But the field of audio is so good that it might be slightly to the left, and you're going to know that it's slightly to the left, and then you can turn yourself, and then it'll be ahead of you if you're following in that way. I haven't actually followed a route yet. I did create one, but I never followed one.
I wonder if you could say what parks are around me or something like that.
There's all kinds of points of interest. It could say what's around, what's ahead of me, what's behind, what streets are ahead of me, that kind of thing. And it can give you streets that are ahead of you so you know what you're coming against.
So if I were to say, here's an address, tell me what's all around this address. Can you do that?
I don't know. I haven't explored it enough to answer that question. Mm-hmm. They said something about a virtual mode, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm not willing to answer that or say yes or no.
We're very big fans of virtual modes around here.
Uh-huh.
That's how I got to know my new city.
Yeah.
All those years ago.
Mm-hmm. But it's fun because it's going to give you that kind of stuff. It'll announce your GPS quality while you're walking.
Nice.
It will announce the nearest address when you're walking. It will announce, it'll say upcoming intersection, and it'll give you the orientation of that intersection, which is very, very nice. It doesn't do it when you're at the intersection. No GPS is going to do that, and you really shouldn't expect GPS to do that. It was doing it probably 300 feet from the intersection, so it gives you enough time to start to look for that crosswalk or that, the cutoff point that's going to put you into the street. And I was in a very familiar area, but they need to really do some work on sidewalks because some of them were just up and down the hill.
So you enjoyed your walk?
I did. It was fun. And I'd do it again and again and again.
Nice. So would you recommend this for someone, either a GPS, don't want to say expert, but someone who's familiar with GPS? Sure. Or to a newbie?
Why not?
Cool.
It would work. What I'd like to do is put your house as a beacon and get there and kind of see how that works, or create a route and follow a route.
Well, we can take it to NC with us.
Yes, we can. We'll see how it works off-road.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That'll be actually interesting to see how that works.
Mm-hmm. Because we've had more success with some than others when playing. So it's always kind of fun to see what is available.
Well, this is kind of a short episode. I think it's a short episode, and
You're all at conventions or hanging out and doing your thing anyway, so it's kind of the middle of summer. We don't get as long in terms of episodes sometimes, especially since we're going to be away during this too. But we hope you're having a great summer. We hope that this has given you some good ideas, and the next time you hear from us, we'll be in NC. So we will talk to y'all later this month. And hope you are having a great month and a safe convention travel season if you're doing so, or just hanging out virtually. Anyway, hope you have a great rest of July.
Bye.
Bye.
The preceding podcast is a presentation of Mystic Access, where the magic is in learning. If you are blind or visually impaired and wish to experience less stress and more fun on your unique assistive technology journey, our comprehensive audio documentation and additional offerings are here to support you. We welcome your visit at mysticaccess.com. That's mysticaccess.com. Have a question or wish to place an order via phone? Call us at 716-543-3323. If you have comments to share about this episode, follow our phone menu prompts to reach our Mystic Access podcast comment line. Email us at info@mysticaccess.com and connect with us on social media, Mastodon, mysticaccess.online, and facebook.com/mysticaccessempower. Would you like to spread the word about our podcasts? Anyone may explore our extensive archives and subscribe to receive our bi-weekly episodes at mysticaccesspodcast.com. If you enjoy our content, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for spreading the word and for being a listener. We hope you enjoyed this episode.